One of Alabama's most notorious murders was revisited in Montgomery this week as the State Board of Pardons and Paroles considered the case of Judith Ann Neelley. She's serving a life term for kidnapping and raping a young DeKalb County girl and then injecting her with drain cleaner, shooting her, and throwing her body off a cliff. Capitol Journal's Randy Scott reports for us tonight.
This parole hearing is 36 years in the making. In 1982, Judith Ann Neelley was convicted and sent to prison for murdering 13-year-old Lisa Millican. Millican's relatives were in attendance, as were supporters of Neelley, who spoke to the parole board first.
She has many times stated that if she could trade her own life for the victim, she would have done so. Although it may be meaningless to the victims, Ms. Neelley nonetheless profusely apologizes for what happened.
And what I've seen in the 3 years of working with her is she is a person of compassion, to accept the forgiveness of God.
Judith Ann Neelley is a very cruel, sick person. She needs to stay. She needs to do her punishment for killing, taking lives.
I've probably prosecuted over 200 murder defendants. I have never prosecuted one other defendant who murdered for sheer sport.
Testimony completed, the parole board meets to make their decision.
She did not make parole. She come up again in the year 2023.
Attorney General Steve Marshall had this reaction to the decision.
Judith Ann Neelley was somebody who enjoyed killing, and that she's somebody that doesn't need to be released into the streets of Alabama, nor even to be released to the custody of Georgia.
Millican's family is relieved Neelley stays where she is.
I remember being 6 years old and telling my aunt that Lisa ran away because of me, that she was no longer my sister because I made her mad and she no longer loved me. And it took me the longest time to understand that it wasn't my fault, because this woman, it took her from me.
I'm glad Alabama's keeping her, and like my sister said, that way she can't get out and hurt nobody else and cause just pain for nobody. I'll be back in 5 years and I'll do it until the day I die or she does.
For Capitol Journal, I'm Randy Scott.
Judith Ann Neelley was originally sentenced to die in the Millican case, but her sentence was commuted in 1999 by former Governor Fob James. Since then, a debate has raged over whether Neelley should be considered for parole. The legislature 15 years ago passed a bill to change state law and block Neelley from being considered for parole, but a federal court struck it down this year.